Hey, it's Obi Chikuma with Space and Equity. We're all about increasing assets and creating new space. Here today with the founder, Nicole Mays of One Care Premier Services out in Houston, Texas.
In Houston, Texas.
In
Yes.
Houston, Texas. Nicole, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Obi. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on your platform.
So I'm very intrigued about the services that you provide on multiple levels. There's connections on multiple levels. But the first thing is, it's very rare to see that the public services, whether you call it child care, foster care services, married with the adoption services, married with the social services, all in one, even though the synergies are great. I've never seen it put together. So tell me how you came about that approach.
So my passion working in the public service field and the private sector allowed me to open up my eyes to things that were not done before. And so I will say what you basically said when you said you've never seen it done before. I am one of the few. And I am very proud of that. It is something that is very needed. My passion for social service and the underserved individuals in our community is something that I have always wanted to make sure has been done and taken care of. And so it was just something that came naturally to me, but they did come over time. I will say that. The entities that I did pull together came over time, and having them together, it's amazing. It really is.
Okay.
It is.
Do you believe that the 14-year-old Nicole envisioned all of this, or did she have the passion then to be doing all this? Well, it's a combination of the two.
I'm going to say it's a combination of the two. Me growing up, I always had a passion. How I grew up kind of shaped what I envisioned. So I will say that I did not grow up saying, oh, I'm going to have this vision. But as I went to college, started understanding social service, social work, and understanding things, I realized that, hey, this is your calling, Nicole. This is you. And I will also say that it's not easy to even be in this field, and to also have a personal connection to it. It's amazing. It is.
Okay. Oftentimes, Ms. Mays, a lot of people have passion to do great things, and then they run into life, the barriers. So when you started this and said, hey, I'm gonna put all of this together, these three verticals together, what were your barriers to entry? What stopped you at times from doing what you wanted?
So me starting off, I started One Care when I was working my 9 to 5, when I was working in the private sector, working for an agency, which is actually like mine right now. It opened my eyes, and the barriers that came along with it, I knew that they were going to come. One of my main things I will say was capital. So when I started off, I did not know where I even wanted to start, Obi. I mean, I used my private capital myself, and then I ventured off to, borrowing money as well. So capital is something that you don't think about as a business owner when you're first starting off. I know I did it. I just did it, but those were my barriers. And so what I had to do was realize as I got older, and of course more experienced, that borrowing other people's money to make your dreams come true is always a win-win situation. But we're not taught that. We're not taught that.
No, we are not.
We're not taught that at all. And so I struggled for a minute just using my own capital. That was a barrier for me. Another barrier was, what was Nicole Mays Jackson gonna do to make her agency different? What was I gonna do? Because I worked for one, I saw so many people open up agencies. So my barrier for me too was, how was I gonna be different? How was Nicole gonna be different? And so that was something hard to come up with. That's why it really took me a time to even add all three aspects to the business. But those are my two barriers: capital and setting myself apart from the other agencies here in Region 6, which is Houston.
Okay. So yes, and everybody knows capital is the most critical component of any operations.
Mhm.
You use capital to buy cash flow. The cash flow is now you have these government agencies paying for the services that your clients need, and you make the difference on the margin. To get that point, you needed your money or somebody else's money.
Yes.
Look, I was 10 years in banking. I was the leader of the small business team, we call it the SBS team,
Mhm.
in Dallas, Texas in 2016. And the term family office kept on being thrown out. I had no clue, Nicole, 10-year banking career, what they were talking about. And for the uninitiated, the family office is it's private money
Mhm.
used to grow. Really, they throw money into entrepreneurs. So rather than if you go to Edward Jones and Fidelity, that's publicly traded funds that they
Right.
manage. They have to be licensed to do it. On the private sector, you could have billions of dollars put together, but they're not taking the public's money.
Mhm.
Well, when these family offices come together, and I give the example of the family, the Hunt family, they own the Chiefs. They do a lot of other things, but they own the Chiefs. They have a family office in Dallas. And so my counterparts were talking about trying to get with the local family offices to get their business, because in addition, that's a good banking client.
It is.
I'm 10 years in, I'm advising businesses, and I don't know what that is because we're never exposed to it. And it's so then you augment. So I find out I wasn't going to stay ignorant. So I found out what it is. We're in the space now that we're using that to grow our business. But think about how many people like yourself who don't have access to that information, who don't know. Don Peoples, I shared this on a podcast recently. Don Peoples, who owns it's a real estate firm, one of the largest Black real estate firms in the country. He was talking about there's $69 trillion in private equity circulating. And white men have 98.7% of it. Everybody else, Black women, Black men, Asians, everybody else has the 1.3, which accounts to less than $1 trillion, about 900 some odd $billion, which is still a lot of money. But then Black women like yourself are 40% of all the new business starts last year.
All the new business, yes.
So we're doing this with our own money.
We're doing it with our own money, money.
And we think that so part of what we're doing here, part of what you're helping today is how do people get there? Because you took a dream and took the action without access to that information. You figured out, okay, you used your own money. So you probably use your own savings. You might have used your own 401k.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, I can't live no more if I keep going this route while the business is going. What was the next step for you? What was the borrowing process looking like?
So I had to do my research. I did not have a mentor. I did not have anyone who was just going to hold my hand. And so I started doing research. Once I got to where I needed to be, of course, in business, you have to have an accountant. You have to have the best CPA. Shout out to my CPA. She's actually in Dallas. Okay. And I love her to death, Miss Dennis. I just love her to death. But with that being said, you have to have someone to be able to kind of show you, and then you really have to have someone who you have to be the person to do the research, but you have to have someone to show you, because I didn't know. I operated with my own cash flow for so long, OB. I mean, so long. And once I got access to that capital, it just opened up doors for me. And so I tell people all the time, you can use capital in a good way or in a negative way. Too much of anything is not good if you do not have a plan to use it. And a lot of us, in business, we will get capital and we won't use it for what it's supposed to be used for. And we're not thinking about the long term of paying that money back and doing what we need to do. So I always say, you can have access to all the capital that you want, but also ensure you're using it for the right resources to scale your business. It's so important.
Absolutely. So shout out to Miss Dennis. As you found out early, you can't run a business without a CPA.
You cannot run a business. And look, I want to tell you what I got today too.
Oh, look at you. Where'd you get the students from?
Yes, I did. I said I had to support.
Shout out. So we are Scooters franchise owner, and Miss Mays is Drink the Scooters in Houston. We're gonna keep on expanding. So I appreciate the support and
You're
growing
welcome.
our business. But so you did the research, your CPA helped you out. You got with what type of lending sources? Did you go to a traditional bank? What did you do next when you started borrowing?
I did traditional banking. I did
Okay.
traditional banking. It wasn't that, it wasn't that bad. I did traditional banking and it really helped. I mean, it really helped. I do not like to get more capital than I need. So, but I do always tell people when you're having a business as well, have reserve funds. So
Mm,
for me, having reserve funds is so important in my social service business because you don't know what's going on with the state. And so
yeah.
you have to have those reserve funds, use your capital for what you need to use it for. But yeah, I just went the traditional route.
Okay.
I
Okay.
did.
And
I
did
did.
do you have a banker that you currently work with now, or somebody that walked you through the process and they know your business that you can
I do.
call? Okay,
I do.
that's
I
good.
do. And that's so important. It's so important because I did find out too that the banks they watch and the
Mhm.
banks that you go to, they watch. And so they would reach out to me consistently before I even started, saying, okay, let me get capital, let me decide to open up. So they watched. And when she saw me, she, called and asked me to come in and we talked. And so I would say that it was a really good thing. But if I just think sometimes, well, if you weren't watching me or knowing what was going on in my account, would you be willing to help me?
Mhm.
So that's something that I think about all the
Yeah.
time as well. Because I don't think that they just call you out the blue just to say, hey,
Nope.
Miss
No.
Jackson, this is what, they don't. They see what's going on. So
They
they
are
do.
in the same business you're in. They're selling. What you do to ring the cash register is the social services that you provide. What
Mhm.
they do to ring the cash register is the financial services that they provide. So they're
Correct.
doing the exact same thing. We're all salesmen at the end of the day.
We
And
are.
the answer to would they help you if they didn't see, unfortunately, probably not. It doesn't make them necessarily a bad person, but
Mhm.
they can only help you if there's give and take.
Resources. Yep.
There's
If it's.
resources. Can she repay the loan? Can we
Mhm.
grow with her?
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's the other thing that because we lack the financial literacy, the commercial banking acumen, we at times we feel there's an affront on our personhood, and it's more of you don't have the capacity for me to help
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
But like in anything, if there's not enough of us telling the story, that developing the comfort level
Mhm.
so that we can have rapport to tell you the truth, we
Yes.
miss that information.
We do. We totally miss that information. And so, but what you're doing, educating, because I saw some of your videos, you educating, talking about capital, trying to get Black businesses aware of what's going on, and just businesses in general. I tip my hat off to you because we don't know. I know if I would have known a lot of things from the beginning, I would have done things totally different to a certain extent.
Yeah,
Financially, I
yeah,
would have.
yeah. And I think, and we're going to segue to the next question I have for you, but you touched on something. Would they call if they didn't see an opportunity?
Mm,
What we learn is that you know who you can serve and who you can't serve.
mhm,
So oftentimes a quick no is better than an extended yes that turns into a no. We found out, as space and equity is concerned, that we can educate everybody with the podcast, with the reels, but our
mhm,
customers are you. We can't take on everybody. So we've decided that, hey, this is what our customer looks like. Our customer has a business that is like 1 million to 10 million in revenue, loan needs about in the same space, 1 million to 10 million. And then as a personal guarantor, their net worth is probably 500,000 to about 30 million. You
mhm,
grow beyond that, there's more scope that they need, and we can refer them. But our customer is not necessarily the startup that is looking for a 10,000 credit card. And it's not because we don't care about that individual, is that we
mhm.
don't have the capacity to serve them efficiently and take care of our operations. We as a community need to learn better. What does your bank want? Not every bank fits everybody.
Correct.
Chase's need is different than First Capital Bank.
Mhm.
And we need to know that so we can officially use our time and their time accordingly. Just like, who would you turn in your business? Who are your clients and who do you have to turn away?
Well, technically, I cannot turn away anyone in my business if they do inquire for services in my business. But as far as my clients, I have underserved individuals in my agency that are asking that those are my clientele. So you have your African American, Hispanic, you have someone who is I'm not going to say below that line. I would say they are trying to find the right word to say. They are in need of financial support, most of my clients. That's how I would say it. They are needing some type of assistance. They are needing some type of help. And so those are the clients that I know need me, because a lot of clients in my business, they do not have any clue about a lot of services that are offered. Okay. And that's something that we are really trying to get out there to caregivers, parents, anyone who is looking to be a foster parent, or someone who is caring for a child or individual with intellectual disabilities. That's my population. Those are who we're trying to reach, because a lot of people are not aware of all of the services that are out there for them. They have no clue. So those are the people who we are really trying to reach, and that's my population. In my business, I just feel like education is so important, just like yours. And if you're not educated or someone doesn't know, it's just, you're not going to get the tools that you need. You're not going to be able to succeed.
How does that information get better disseminated to the public? It's great to have the services, but if nobody knows about it.
So I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of business owners that have a business like mine, they are not coming out and talking about it. They do sometimes on a personal level on social media platform. It's very rare. I will tell you that. Okay. And so I feel that right now technology is everything. So just by someone seeing me, I mean, I feel like they will know, hey, she talked about HCS. She talked about foster care. Let me try to figure out, let me get those, let me see what she's talking about. But a lot of people in my field, they do not talk and educate clients, caregivers, and individuals about it. Why? I don't know, but it's not talked about. And I think sometimes, we do think about, since we contract with the state, certain things that we can and can't say and do. So I get it, but we do not educate. And sometimes I just feel like sometimes it's scrutiny with it as well.
So you have a unemployed, homeless veteran. They come to your door. How do you get them back on track?
So they would not qualify to be on our program. I will tell you, our program is for clients who have intellectual disabilities. So they have to meet a certain income line, and they have to have intellectual disabilities. Our other two programs, they would have to want to be foster parents. And if they're a foster parent, they will go through the process and they can assist us in helping children who are in care for CPS. And then we have, of course, individuals who want to do adoption. So, and that's self-explanatory at times. But home and community-based services is where you have an individual who is needing services because they have intellectual disabilities. So more so with your example of what you said is someone who is having a boarding home or who is doing other things. And so with my agency, it's more focused on clients who have intellectual disabilities and children in care.
And so private and public funding for those services, who's paying for that when they come to you provide?
Oh, yeah. So it is public. It is state funded. It is state funded, and those services, I will say we need more funds We really need more funds, especially for clients with intellectual disabilities and with CPS right now. So we really do need more funds. I will say that there are so many private funds that are out there, but a lot of people don't know about as well. You have a lot of companies who are willing to do things for clients with intellectual disabilities or kids. So it's just about providing those resources and finding them. And they are hard at times. And so one of our main goals is to make sure that our population who we serve are educated and we can get them those resources that they need.
How about, so you've got state funding. There's private funds out there with corporations that have an interest in supporting. Is there grant money that you guys take advantage of in your space?
We have not taken advantage of grant money right now. That is on the list. It is on the list. We are working on it. You know, that is a process if you've ever had. Because there's so many stipulations, it's a process, but we are working on it. We are actually in the process right now.
Okay. So you've got grant writing, you got public funding. How about like you board that raises money in the donation space? Do you guys play in that space any? Yes,
we do. We do have individuals who are with us who help us raise funds for our private side, where you go over to the foster care and adoption. So we always have people who want to donate. So yes.
Okay. What does your operations, how much of staff does that encompass, and how many people do you guys typically serve on an annual basis?
So with foster care, we recently started the foster care entity about 2 years ago. Okay. When you talk about home and community-based services, right now, we are serving at least 70 plus individuals right now. So we are widening access. It's a lot to serve, but it has to be done. And we're trying to expand even more because we want to be able to assist as many people as we can.
Awesome. Awesome. Tell me, I'm sure you've learned so much about the process by fire. And what do you feel like, where are you today compared to when you started? And when did you guys start?
Yeah, I am still learning. I'm gonna tell you, I stay learning. It's a never ending cycle, but one of my hardest things I would say that I had to do was delegate. One of my learning mechanisms that I really had to learn, Obi, was delegating. It really was, because starting off having to do everything by myself for 2 years, doing payroll, visiting clients, the whole shebang, I had to realize that delegation is my best friend. I'm serious. It was my best friend. Delegation is my best friend, because I will never forget, I had my aha moment with payroll. I mean, I was sitting here, Obi, doing payroll for back then, I would say it was probably around maybe 40 or 50 individuals, then myself. And, you know, I know for me as a business owner, your business is your baby. Your finance is your baby. You don't want to entrust someone else with your money. You're thinking in your mind, okay, I'm not going to show anyone my money. They're not going to, I don't want to do this. And so that was my mindset for so long. And I had to sit down. I had to pray about it. I will say I had to pray about it. I talked to my husband. I know that to run a successful business, I was going to have to let it go. I was going to have to let it go. And that's where I did my research. I found out about my lovely accountant, who I love, Miss Dennis, again in Dallas. And it just lightened the load for me. And that's just a small piece, but delegation is very hard when you're so used to being in control of everything. I will say.
Yes, yes, yes. We all learn in that space. I think we all have it in different places. I realized that if I wanted to have faith and really grow, I was forced to delegate. You can run as small an operation as you want to if you want to hold on to anything. And I don't know, at some point you just bust. There's nothing left to give, and something will cause you to explode.
Yes.
So delegate is your best friend. Delegate or
Delegate is my
die.
friend. Delegate or die. It's my
Yes.
best friend. Yes.
Awesome, awesome. How about staff what do you do to keep them energized? Because they move off of your spirit, your
They
energy.
do. They do.
What do you
They
do
do.
to keep that space
I try to treat
welcoming?
my staff here and there. I try to uplift them. We have a great relationship. Everyone that is in-house with my staff, I commend them because they are the face of me. When I am not there, they are the front ground runners who are visiting the families, who are talking and doing everything. So I try to keep them uplifted. I try to make sure that, we have our time, we go on wine tours sometimes. We have to try to have a happy medium with them. So it's hard. It is hard, but I try to keep them uplifted at all times, all times.
That's good. And how long would you say your staff has been with you on average from a tenure standpoint?
I would say probably about 3 to 4 years.
Okay, so you're doing something right, because if
I'm
you
doing
weren't,
something.
yeah.
3 to 4 years. I will tell you, direct care staff retention is crazy. When you are working with individuals right there on hand, retention it can be a lot when you're working with direct care staff workers, but people in-house, they have lasted. So, and that starts with management. I know that when you are leading appropriately, everything else will fall in line.
Awesome, awesome. So we talked to you, you started us off on capital and how important that is, but also managing the capital. What advice has your CPA given you that you've adhered to and it's freed you up as a result?
Use your capital wisely. Don't take more than you need. Always be consistent. Have a plan before you're taking your capital. She stresses that consistently all the time.
Awesome. And how many years have you been with your CPA?
Right now we're going on 2 years. 2 years
Okay,
right
good,
now.
good.
Yes.
It's good to have professional partners. CPA, I imagine in your space, your attorney is very important to you as well.
Yes, very.
Governance
Very
is
important.
Governance is important in what we do. What advice would you have to somebody that wants to move in the social services space?
Be consistent, have patience, getting contracts with the state. It does take time. Have a goal, have someone to help you, have a mentor to help you. And that's one of my things that I am also working on as well, because I want to help other women who are interested in starting us in the social service field, help them be able to navigate and go into this field without having to deal with some of the stuff that I dealt with. And I'm still learning. I always say I'm not perfect. It's always a learning experience, but just be consistent. Try to have a mentor if you can, and be patient, because you have to have patience when it comes to getting contracts with the state and having your own business. Also for me, I know that I want to create legacy. And legacy is not just with my family, it's also with others. So if I can be an assistance to anyone who is wanting to do that, I would love, love, love to do that. And that's something that I'm working on. But just make sure you find the right people too, that your team. What do you do? Because you have to find the right people in your team in order to succeed in what you want to do. But just have patience and have discipline, and don't stop, because I can tell you it was times where I just wanted to say, okay, is this for me? Is this it, Nicole? And you have to keep going. You have to keep going.
One thing that we know about society, that the need for what you do is great, probably greater than the services that exist. So I say that, like, the state of Texas needs One Care services.
Yes.
Otherwise, they can't deploy. They got the money to deploy, but they don't have the manpower to do it and the expertise to do it.
Correct.
So there's people that want to get in this space and you want to mentor. is there a franchise model that could be created by you and monetized by you?
Okay, I mean, that is a possibility. It
You
it
know?
could be. It could be. It could be because it's so many individuals that I know want to start, but they don't know where to start. And it could be monetized. I might have to talk to you after. It could
Okay.
be. It
Okay.
really could be.
Yeah.
It could be because I mean, here in Texas, it's such a need for child placement agencies. It's such a need for home and community-based service providers. It's such a need for even foster parents right now and individuals who want to adopt. It's a need for all of that. So, you know, if we could do that, I think that would be good. It
Okay.
would be. It's
But
needed.
we'll talk offline. We always thinking about efficiencies,
Yes.
opportunities.
Yes.
So I need to ask you.
Mhm.
I sense we're in the same age range. So in 1999, what was your disc changer? What were you listening to?
1999, I was listening to Destiny's Child. I was listening to Destiny's Child. Solange went to middle school at Johnston with us.
Okay.
So Beyonce, Kelly, LaToya, they would be up there. They did talent shows. And
Okay.
so I was just intrigued. I was
Okay.
intrigued. And so, and just to see how they were then and now, I'm really intrigued. So I love Destiny's Child. Also, the Hot Boy era. I will say the Hot Boy era. So you have your Juvenile, your Lil Wayne, BG.
Yeah.
So I love the Hot Boy era because every
Okay.
time you think of when you say in 1999, what do you think of, Obi? What do you think of? Well, let me tell you, I think of for the 99 and the 2000.
Yes.
Yes.
There's so many things that go in my head because in 99, that was my freshman year in college. So you have that by then, Jay-Z had already done volume 2, was doing volume 3. I got put on to the Hot Boys. I had no clue because music was so regional. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. I didn't even hear of, like in North Carolina, Pastor Troy was a big thing. Of course, I love Scarface. So
yes.
Man, Scarface, I love Goody Mob. What was going on in so the Houston music, Texas Screw, I was exposed to because my cousins are from Texas. I'm like, what are y'all doing? We're driving on a dirty beach and people were playing Screw. I was like, why are they doing this? But then I liked it. I liked it a lot. So yeah, there was a lot, but yeah, Hot Boys was big. I think Black Rob, remember Whoa? Man, so music, we just didn't know how good we had it at the time, music-wise.
Yeah, because it's totally different now.
Yes.
I will tell you that it's totally different now. So
my sister actually went to high school in Houston. She went to Memorial City High School. So,
okay. All right. Yeah.
So tell the people where, if they want to find One Care Services, they want to learn more about what Nicole Mays has to offer the community, where do they go?
So they can go to One Care Premier Services at our website. They can also go to my Instagram page. It's One Care Premier on IG. And then you also have Nicole Mays Jackson, which is my personal Instagram as well. Professional personal. Let me get that clear.
Professional. Yes, for all of y'all.
For all of y'all, yes.
Don't hit her up in
Don't
the
get
DM.
it twisted.
No.
Yes.
This is professional.
Correct.
There's a mission.
Professional. It is. And it's Nicole Mays Jackson. Yes.
Okay. Nicole Mays Jackson on IG, One Care Premier on IG, and then onecarepremierservices.com, the website to see what they offer.
Yes.
Nicole, we truly appreciate this time. I think your team is organized, y'all. I was on vacation last week and Cash Design hit me up on the email. Where are the questions at? I was like, all right, they ain't playing no games. They're ready to go.
Stay organized. I'm telling you, my team is amazing. Shout out to Kyra Cash at Cash Design. She is amazing. When I tell you amazing, everything. She's everything.
Absolutely. Well, we have a motto at our firm is when you come correct, they can't stop you. They can't stop you. Whatever you can dream, you can execute, but you got to come correct.
Gotta come correct.
Nicole, we appreciate your time. You can check us out on IG at OB_empowers, at Space Equity on IG. You can also check out our YouTube page as a Come Correct podcast. You type in Space Equity, you can find us, like and subscribe. When you come correct, we can't stop you. Thank you for your time, Nicole.
Thank you so much for having me, Opie. I appreciate it.
You have a great day.
You too.